welcome to the season finale of Safe Space. My name is Chris Edwards. I'm your host, and I've got a very special guest with me tonight, Mr. Ronald Clay. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Are we looking here or are we looking
No,
here?
we're looking there.
Looking here into the camera.
So, this season of Safe Space has been about changing, doing things a little bit differently. So I figured, of course, why not have my husband join me for the season finale? We had three great guests this year. Mr. Oluseun, better known as O, Wilbur Pack Jr., and then also Mr. TJ Bolton. Now, I introduced you guys to these three gentlemen this past season, and they're not, all were not unfamiliar to you, especially Oluseun and TJ. So we've had them previously on the conference call,
yeah.
on our recap show that we do on the official conference call on YouTube. And after our conversations there and our interactions there, I said, these are definitely people I would love to have on Safe Space. And for those that are just joining us for the first time, Safe Space is a show for LGBTQIA plus individuals and all that support us. And the show was envisioned as a space where you could feel safe, you can share your stories, and, shed a little bit of, be a light to others. If you can see yourself in any of the individuals, hopefully they can touch you in a way. So that was the reason for doing it. And then, like I said, this is the third season. And for the third season, we want to change it up just a little bit. So the three guests were very distinct and very different. Let's start off with Big O, Oluseun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So O identifies as an ally. And an ally is someone that supports the community.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big supporter of our community. And how we actually got introduced to O was through TJ.
Mm-hmm.
TJ was on in the Black podcast. Did I say that right?
I believe so. Was he on the podcast?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He did the podcast.
TJ, as in our other guest host from the conference call, not TJ Bolton.
Correct.
Yes,
because there's two TJs in this. So yeah, he was on that podcast, and then he introduced us to O. And O had filled in for Ronald and I when we were away. I think it was for our anniversary trip when we were in Vegas, and they did the show together, and they had great chemistry. Now, mind you, O is married with, I believe, 2 kids.
He is a cis-het man.
Yes. Yeah. But like I said, he identifies as an ally, and he's a great supporter. And one of the things that was very memorable to me about him being on Safe Space was the story he told about how a coworker of his was outed by another coworker to him, and instead of just leaving it at that, he reached out to his coworker, and they became really good friends to the point where this individual invited him and his wife to his wedding to his now husband. So, I love hearing stories like that. I love interacting with people that have an understanding of the LGBTQIA plus community and people that support. I think
No, I was about to say, I don't even think it necessarily needs to be an understanding of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yes.
I think it's just an understanding of humanity, period.
Yes.
O is a good example of just being a good human being.
Yeah.
And we need more people like him in this world, especially because, unfortunately, especially in the Black community, the Black straight community or straight presenting community, they are, sad to say, that's probably one of the largest homophobic groups that are out there, especially if they're involved in church and all of the other stuff. That's a whole other conversation. But when you have somebody like O that comes along and is refreshing, and he's confident in himself, he's confident in his sexuality, confident enough to just be a decent human and see people for people, even when he's on with us for the conference call when we do the recap shows. Like, we popped his Drag Race cherry, and now he's fully enthralled in the world because of 3 gay men, right? So it's just like, why can't more people in the world just be like him?
Yeah.
Just be normal. All you got to do is just be normal and
Be
accept
yourself.
accept people for who they are, where they are, how they identify. Like if I come to you and I say I'm this black Sharpie, you don't have to understand it, but you can respect me enough from person to person
Yeah.
to just move along.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I loved about our conversation. You know, we talked about specifically that, you know, just showing up and being who you are. You know, here's the thing. If I got, and this is one of the examples like we used in our discussion. If I get pulled over, a cop's not going to ask me how do I identify. Well, first he's going to ask me for my license and registration, but what he sees first is a black man.
Yes.
That's how we show up in the world. We don't show up in the world as gay men or bisexual men or pansexual or whatever. We show up as black first, black men first and second. And then if we get into a conversation and I share with you my sexuality or who I'm attracted to or whatever, that's like a third or fourth thing. You know, my sexuality does not define who I am as a person. And that's what I loved about our conversation. It really didn't stem around our sexuality. It really dealt with who we are as human beings and our humanity first.
Yeah. I feel like at some point we as a society, humans should be able to move past the point where you even have to identify as anything. If you show up as yourself, if I introduce myself as Ronald, respect me as Ronald, and that's all it is. Wherever the conversation may go between me and another individual, that's between me and that individual. But I shouldn't have to come as, oh, I'm Ronald, I'm a black gay man. Like, that has nothing to do with how we're going to engage. I mean, you know, people are people and they're going to try to shift things to how they want to shift them depending on who you are. But at the same time, at large, everybody should just be people and they shouldn't have to identify as this or that. If like, does that make sense?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to identify as your sexuality your sexual preference. You should just show up and
it's almost 2026, 2025, 2026, whenever you're watching this. Like, why can't people just be people? And again, like, that's why I say I appreciate because he allows people to just be people. He uses proper pronouns. He uses, like, he's just a man that understands humans.
And here's the other thing that I loved about like I mentioned earlier, you know, he has kids, and what he used his experience with getting to be familiar with Drag Race as a teachable moment and a way to bond with his daughter, because him and his daughter, his young daughter, binge watched the entire season so he could have an understanding and talk to us and have interaction about Drag Race when we recorded our session. So that was one of the things I loved about him. And it has nothing to do about, you know, your sexuality. It was just like, all right, well, how can I spend time with my daughter? How can I get to understand and know these guys? And how can I interact with everyone and everyone be on an equal level playing field? So, if you're watching this, I hope you're watching this. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Thank you for just who you are as an individual. And I just loved every minute of our conversation. And I look forward to working with you and just being your friend in the background as well. So thank you again for that.
Yes, and we will see you again on the conference call.
Yes, we will, because Drag Race is about to kick off the new season 18 in a few weeks. All right, so next on this season, we had Wilbur Pack Jr., and Wilbur identifies as gay.
Wilbur identifies as human.
Yeah. Yes. And I love that about our conversation. Because, you know, I always try to figure out and get people to understand who these people are holistically first. And, you know, I always ask, you know, how do you identify, just so people can understand who you are and get to know your pronouns. And his response was, I'm human.
Yes.
And
as we all are.
Yeah, and I giggled inside when he said that.
Yes.
But then also, I'm just like, oh my God, where's this conversation
going
to go?
But it's true. It goes back to what I said earlier. We are all just humans. We're all, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, no matter your race, creed, color, gender, identity, all of that stuff. We're at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah.
So although it was funny, especially it was his delivery.
Yeah.
But even though it was funny, it's very true. And I think we all kind of need to get to the place where that can be our response. How do you identify? I'm human.
Human. Yeah.
Now there's a whole fluffy community that we won't even touch because I don't understand it, and we're not going there. But still.
Yeah. And when the aliens come, we have to identify as human first.
Come and take us, please. It's ghetto down here.
Yeah, it is ghetto down here. This political environment is very ghetto down here. But anyway, so Wilbur, as he said, identifies as human and as gay. He told us his story. And then also, the one thing I loved about Wilbur is what he brought to the table. He's very religious. And, one of the things that we know from experience, personal experience, and then experience on the peripheral, is that religion can be really detrimental, very hurtful when it comes to the queer community. And there's a level of acceptance because Wilbur shows up as himself, and religion is deeply enrooted in him. And he doesn't allow religion to be a negative impact in his life. He uses it to uplift himself, and because it's something that he's learned from his mother, going to church as a little kid, and has been with him his entire life. I do remember in season 2, I believe, I had Ron Foster on, and we talked a lot about religion and being in the queer community also. So these are the type of conversations I love to have, and I was thankful that Wilbur was able to come on, talk about, his experience growing up, being in church, and then also talking about his professional experience and how he's had to pivot throughout his life. Because here's the thing, Safe Space is not just about how you identify, but how you make it through the world and the things that you do, your accomplishments, your downfalls, but then also how do you, get back up and get back up on your feet. Wilbur's had a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of stops and starts, pivoting from one business to the next, but he's triumphed and he's doing what, doing his thing out there.
Yeah, from what we've seen, Wilbur is a hustler. He is going to keep moving from one thing. If it's not a bag, it's something else, Chuck.
Yeah.
Wilbur gonna move.
Yeah. And his current project, as you guys recall, he's doing the backpacks, and the backpacks have a digital component towards it. You scan the QR codes, it takes you to a website, and you can learn about the characters that are on your bag. And he's doing this all for a great cause. And that's another thing what I've loved about him. He's very enriched, or not enriched, what's the word I'm looking for? Deep in community and giving back. If I remember correctly, he donates his time towards transgender youth on the weekends, and he's very just ingrained in all of that, and he believes heavily in giving back. And not everyone does that, so when you see people doing, you have to really give them their kudos and give them their flowers. So thank you to Wilbur for all you do for the community. Everyone plays a role, and everyone's small part plays a bigger picture in the grand scheme of things. And I will make sure we'll put all the links for everyone's stuff, but especially Wilbur's, to his bags, to the community organizations that he belongs to. Please go and support him in all of his endeavors and everything that he's doing. We need more people like Wilbur in the world.
That's that. I think that's the thing. Like with both of these two guests that we've talked about so far, is like they are both, first of all, Black men that show up in the world.
Yeah.
Like, whether before his family and friends, like he shows up for them, Wilbur showing up for his community and all of that other things. And then even like just going back to what you said earlier about the religious side of it, as y'all know, if y'all saw our episode,
season 1, season finale.
Yeah. That's kind of my story too. I no longer consider myself religious. I still deal very heavily in relationship though. So these are people who show up, who tell their stories, and they're relatable. No matter where you are in life, somebody can relate. Something that you say can relate. So again, kudos to Wilbur for like just showing up and being a light and being a part of not only identifying yourself in the community, but being a part of the community by helping the trans youth and things like that. So again, like with we need, like you said, we do need more people like Wilbur in the world.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the reason why I even started doing this. Was it like 3 years ago? A little over 3 years ago. You know, I wanted to see more representation, and you know, I kind of did it for selfish reasons. When I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of open conversations like this. I didn't see any actually, and then it took me a long time to get to this point. You know, as you know, I've told my story on this platform and other places. I didn't really come to terms with who I was until I met this gentleman right here. And it forced me to be like, okay, you know, if you want to be in this relationship, there are certain things you have to do. And, you know, one, you have to let people in, and then you have to embrace who you are. I mean, you can't hide it.
Speaking of reputation, can I go on a little rant for a second?
Okay.
Did I say that right? Representation. I don't even know what the word it was that I used. But speaking of representation, imagine, shout out to Dominic Morgan, you're scrolling on the socials, right? And you see a young lady pop up on your screen. She starts her rant with no tea, no shade, which is gay lingo, right? You wouldn't have those words without gay lingo. But imagine you come across this video and this lady is crying about, does every show, does every movie have to have gay people in it now? Yes, it does. Because guess what? Gay people are a part of the world. Yeah. And for a very long time, you did not see us represented in mainstream media, in TV or movies. Even going back, you didn't see black people in mainstream media or movies. We are just continuing to move the needle forward. So it's people like you, and it sucks because it was a black woman, a black young lady, saying, why do we need to see this? When just 20, 30 years ago, white people were saying the same thing about black people. Why do I gotta see black people on TV? So the audacity for you to get on Beyonce's Here internet and ask the question, not only ask the question, but to start your video with such words as no shade, no tea, and then you want to complain about where you even got those words from. Yeah. Ma'am, have several seats. All of you who complain about it, have several seats. And I'm done. I yield my time.
Well, let me sip my tea with all the shade in it. Okay, hold on.
All shade, all tea.
Yeah.
How about you turn your TV off if you're upset?
Yeah. How'd they go? Turn the TV off.
Sure.
As Don Lemon says. But yeah, so that is Wilbur Pack Jr. And of course, our last guest that we had for this
the golden throat of it all. If y'all ever listen to the Quiet Storm radio, every time I hear TJ speak, this man's voice is like butter. Like, if you did not watch that interview, just go watch it. Like,
actually, you don't have to watch it. Just
sit there and listen. And listen.
And I mentioned this in our conversation, but TJ has a voice of an angel. He has that old school like radio. Like, I'm talking about like old school radio. Like back in the 50s.
The Quiet Storm.
Yeah. Like he probably could put you to sleep. Just read you a lullaby as a podcast.
Yeah.
No visuals, just his voice.
Yeah.
He just has that type of voice and presence to him. But we had Mr. TJ Bolton on, and I have to say, one of my most intriguing interviews I think I've done in the last 3 years on this show. First of all, he shows up and identifies as a polyamorous pansexual. And I think that's the first time I've actually had someone that identifies as that. And basically what that...
Well, no, TJ's not pan.
Yeah, no,
poly. Not TJ Bolton.
No, I know you're talking about. I think, this is the first time that we've had a polyamorous pansexual on this. And basically what that is, a person who is pansexual is a person who has an attraction to people regardless of their gender. It's just they're attracted to all genders. And then polyamorous describes a relationship style who is someone who could be into multiple intimate relationships with consent. Now, it's funny that he identifies that, but he is in a monogamous relationship with him and his partner. They've been together for 20 years. All right.
Y'all got us beat.
Beat by a long shot. Almost by double digits. Yeah. But the one thing that I found about TJ is he's so well-versed, very mild-mannered in how he speaks, how he approaches life, family and friends, and then even how he goes along his day. So he's also an actor. He's done voiceovers. He's been in Broadway plays. He's done a lot of things. And then one of the other things that he's done is that he has his own podcast. It's called Tea with TJ. And, I asked him, what was the reason for the naming of Tea with TJ? One, he's a lover of tea. But then he also used tea as a metaphor, and then it calms and soothes him. And he's a true believer in that tea can spark great conversations and lead to some really good outcomes. And I just really enjoyed our conversation. I felt like we were in a coffee shop, literally in a corner, just talking and having a good time and getting to learn a little bit more about one another. And in full disclosure, a lot of times before I bring on these guests, a week or two, I'll actually have a very brief conversation with them just to see where their head's at and just to make sure that this is a right fit for them. Because one of the things I've always been very cognizant of is I don't want to just bring anyone on this platform, especially if they're not really ready for it. Because I've had guests that I've reached out to that had agreed to do this, but when I did my initial sit-down interview with them, I realized that I didn't think that this was the platform for them, or they really weren't ready yet. And then also there were a few people that I did the pre-interview with, and they realized that they hadn't shared who they were with other people or come out. And I said, I don't think that this is the platform that you want to do this at. I really want you to be free and open and to be able to express yourself and tell your full story, and not have this be like a coming out story. Not to say it can't happen, but I didn't want it to be that. But with TJ, it was just a really good conversation.
He seems like he's easy to talk to, though. When he also was a guest on the conference call and
on the recap show.
Yeah, on the recap show. He came on when we were doing Project Runway, I believe, right?
Yes.
And he was just very easy. He fit in with the three of us. It just didn't feel like there was any kind of tug of war at all with it. Like he slid in where he could slide in, and even when he wasn't talking, you still felt his presence there.
Yeah.
So he seems like a really down to earth dude. And I've had we haven't had conversations, but just how you interact with people on social media. He seems like a really nice guy. So it just
Yeah. I had a great conversation with him. As a matter of fact, the day that we recorded that episode, literally after we finished taping, I went on his podcast and we recorded an episode for him. So I'm not even sure when that's coming out, but I know it's going to be coming out hopefully within the next few weeks or early in the new year, hopefully. So I'll definitely make sure to spread that when that comes out. And it was just so great. We literally talked for 2.5, 3 hours, because even in between the recordings, we had a little downtime to just kind of talk. And he's the type of person where you want to get to know him even better. And here's the thing, like we said with like I said with Wilbur, it's not about your sexuality. It's just about being a human being and getting to know these people for who they are, the lives that they live, and how they maneuver through this world. Because here's the thing, we all have a story, and we all have one singular commonality. We all just want to live a good life and leave it better than we found it, and leave some type of legacy behind. And He's just a great individual. As a matter of fact, all three of these guys were great individuals. So I think what we're going to do is we'll play a few clips in the background so you can kind of get a glimpse of a flavor for each of the interviews. But please go back and watch these episodes 1, 2, and 3 with O, with Wilbur, and with TJ. I think you're going to walk away learning something about them, but also learning something about yourself as well. And that's always been my goal in doing this show. I hope that people take something away from it. I would love to say that, like, I remember when I did the first season, a lot of people said that they would cry watching these episodes just because the vulnerability of the guests. Second season, a little bit more of that, and then but this season, I really want to be even more uplifting and just kind of reach a even wider audience and crowd and demographics, and that's why I really opened it up. When I first started season 1, it was really geared towards people of color, people in the Caribbean, really, in the LGBTQIA plus community. And then I realized that was such a narrow view and narrow look, and it was actually very hard to get guests. So I said, let me just open it up to people of color, all shades of color in the community. And then I think we had even more and deeper conversations. And then this season, I really want to expand more. And, my mantra is all about change, hence my name, constantly changing. And if I'm not constantly changing, I'm doing myself a disservice. So having someone who is an ally to the community, continuing on and bringing people from in the community, but then also adding different labels, I guess, as you would, for lack of a better word, more inclusion, and just showing the full breadth and depth of the community. So I hope that I've done that. I hope that you've gotten something from it. I hope that you've learned something, and you guys want to see more. I'm really looking forward to the late winter, early spring season. I believe we're coming back in March for season 4. What's up?
September.
Reference.
Yes.
Reference. If you're a Real Housewife of Atlanta fan, you would get that reference.
Joggers.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to coming back with season 4 and just having a new guests with new stories to share with you guys. And then this is a call to action. If you're watching this, if you're in the community, if you're not in the community, if you know someone that you think this would be a good platform for them to come on and share their story, send them my way. Send me a DM. Write it in the comments. I'm very open. I want to be a sponge and absorb all this information and then also share it with you. And the one nice thing that I think I love about this platform is that I try to allow my guests to just have the floor and have the stage and to let them tell their stories. I just kind of interject every once in a while just to kind of probe and ask questions because, it's a conversation and I want to learn also. I've learned so much from my guests and I want to continue along that path. With that being said, that is season 3 of Safe Space. But I don't want to walk away without giving you guys a little bit more insight for things to come. So, of course, part of the reason of having my husband on, in addition just to keeping me company and making the screen look a little bit better, is to talk about the upcoming season of the conference call and the recap show. Because guess what, baby? We're back. We're back in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
January 2nd is the next season, the season premiere of RuPaul's Drag Race season 18. And there are 14 new queens. We're going to dig in and dig deep this season.
We did a Meet the Queens episode, and the people are already eating it up. So come back for this season if y'all enjoyed the Meet the Queens episode, which it seems like y'all did.
Yeah.
Come back this season. It seems like it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be an interesting season.
And even if the season's not interesting, we gonna make it interesting, child. We're gonna have a lot to talk about.
We will, and hopefully we'll bring on some more guest hosts and maybe some other surprises. We don't know. I mean, look, this recap show, we've constantly had surprises throughout 2025. So 2026 is just getting started. We'll just be getting started. So, dip in for that. in addition to that, I think we probably can announce that. You want to announce it?
No, let's
Okay.
wait. Just
Well,
let's
know that
let's see how it goes. We have some things
we have some surprises
in
store.
down the pipeline.
Yeah. So join us over on the official conference call, and I don't know, maybe hopefully we can get them to Indie Soup Media to replay late night the recap show.
Chat, it could be a late night show.
Because listen, the one thing we do
we are unfiltered.
Yes.
We are completely unfiltered.
And we have fun.
Yes.
We have fun. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys again for another amazing season of Safe Space. So until I see you in, I believe, March, maintain a safe space and take care of each other. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching us here on Indie Soup Media and also on Constantly Changing for Me. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and hit the notification button. And we'll see you guys here next week.